Guys, your local Dragon Lady here with yet another Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon deck profile. What can I say? I love this dragon so much. It's my favorite deck to play with. It's great for casuals. I have tried to make this one semi-competitive, but once again, it's all for fun. Don't really expect to be winning any championships or anything, especially with today's competitive format. It's all based on the dice roll. Whoever wins the dice roll typically wins, and we're having entire boards filled with negate effects. So when building this deck, I try my best to see if it can go well going first or second, because we all know with conventional wisdom, the Chaos Max, he always goes best going second, of course, depending on the matchup. But I want to see if I can build something that can go either first or second, because again, whoever wins the dice roll, and they know who they're going against, which is when I'm playing Chaos Max, they always make me go first. And I have gone first quite a few times this week at the locals, and he did quite well. So without further ado, let's get to this profile. Okay, for your ritual monsters, you're going to need 3 Blue Eyes Chaos Maxes, obviously, and only 1 Blue Eyes Chaos. And I know this sounds strange. I have experimented with using more than one, but really this ratio really seems to work the best, and especially now with the new support. 2 Incantation Chalice Slimes. This evens out to maybe 6 ritual monsters for your ritual engine, the incantations. And oh man, with Blue Eyes Chaos Max, with this deck I have 2 OTK win conditions set up, and the Chaos Dragon is only one of them, which is why you only need 1. And especially if you get a field of link monsters out, this OTK is not going to work very well, but it's still good to get him out from time to time because it's a really good beat stick. And these guys are amazing. Now, I don't really ritual summon these guys much at all. These guys are mainly there for the reveal effect. So you reveal him, discard a card, and you can special summon an incantation from your deck to your field, which is amazing. So you can get the ritual cycle going. 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, easy. He just serves as food to feed the Chaos Max. Very, very rarely will you actually be summoning these, but hey, in a pinch, you know, nothing else to work with. Sometimes you can special, tribute summon to get one out. 3 Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, and oh man, this card is amazing. Once again, shout out to the Kali effect for this combo. This guy works best if you were to tribute 2 of your light incantations to get him out. Uses effect to tribute himself to the graveyard, and that way you can take your opponent's extra deck and go through 8 of them, ditch 8 of them to the graveyard, and in your case you can ditch your own to the graveyard. But it works best when you have graveyard effects, which I will show you in a minute, but amazing. Like this guy is really, you really want to see him in your hand on your opening, hand. If you're going first, he is amazing. If you have him and at least 1 ritual spell, ritual monster, and 1 incantations, it's pretty much game, because if you thin out their extra deck, there's not much your opponent could do. 1 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, 1 Chaos Dragon Lavineer, 1 Garmasil Kaiju, and 1 Lava Golem. And I went back to putting at least 1 Blue Eyes all back in the deck. I used to go in and off and on with him, but he's definitely back, because sometimes if you have an opening hand with nothing but a melody, at least you have something. So he's basically a free monster you get on the field, even nothing to work with. Now I will say it's quite rare. This deck is very consistent, but it has happened. I played a game over the weekend and he was the only thing I could get out at one point. So Chaos Dragon Lavineer is obvious. He's ridiculously easy to get out on the field. The effect I prefer the most is a mixture of light and dark, so you can pop 2 cards. But hey, if there's a lot of light and dark monsters in this deck, so if you do nothing but light monsters, take something from your grave to the field and defense, it's always good in a pinch. Garbacio and Lava Golem, this is very tough, right? I like to try to have multiple Kaijus and multiple Lava Golems, because there are problematic monsters out there that can prevent you from doing a ritual summon or attacking or anything. And they can have an effect to prevent you from doing any form of effects. So if they only have 1, that's great, you can have a Garmasil. If they have 2, we'll special summon the Lava Golem in defense positions, so you can take advantage of the piercing power. But this is very tricky. The more of these, the better in my opinion, but when you have very little room to work with, One of each has served me pretty well, but if given the choice, I'd like to have more, but we know that's what side decking is for. Okay, the incantations. This can be pretty tricky for the ratio. So for this deck, I have 3 candles, 3 talismans, 2 pencil plumes, and 1 book. Now, most cases the book isn't really that special. Like, its effect, all it really does is take a ritual spell from the graveyard to your hand. But see, with all the spells I have in this, well, all the magic cards I have in this deck, that's not really an issue. The main reason I have him back in the deck is because he's a spellcaster. Now, I never encountered any village of the spellcasters in quite a while, but the reason why you have at least one is because once you get the cycle going, you reveal and special summon one to the field, search your deck. If they have the village up, all you gotta do is search him out, and you don't need to use any magic to do it at all, which is why this works. So village is up, you want to do a ritual, but you can't, so all you gotta do is reveal a ritual, special summon, search for him, put in the field, and bam! They can't do nothing, so you can go ahead and ritual is to your heart's content. Okay, for your magic, for the ritual, you have 3 advanced ritual art, 3 chaos forms, and 1 incantation inception. All right. Now I've been doing a lot of play testing because you can be more conservative with the advanced ritual art if you like, but I prefer to keep 3 because it's great when it comes to draw. You know, when you're drawing your first hand and you're drawing a card, it just increased the odds of you getting the incantation ritual cycle going, same thing with chaos form. And after experimentation, I tried with 2, but 1 seems to work the best. And incantation, oh, this one is amazing. Only search this for this card if you really need it. The best thing about this card is it allows you to ritual summon any ritual monster, so that includes Chaos Max. And if you have 2 of your incantations on the field, as long as it's equal or exceeds the level Chaos Max, boom, you can use them as material for your ritual, get them out, and of course, this card recycles itself. So if this card's in your graveyard, if you have an incantation in your field or your hand, you can ditch it and bring this back. So I've used this card numerous times. The fact it's recyclable is amazing, and of course, where I have 7 of these ritual magic cards out, it just evens the odds, makes it more likely for a real good hand. You have your 3 Melody Waking Dragon, for obvious reasons, is searchable. This, oh, is amazing. It allows you to search your Chaos Max, your Chaos, and your Chaos Dragon, Labineer, your Blue Eyes, and your Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. So this, oh, this is amazing. So in my opinion, like any dragon deck using Blue Eyes, this card is a must. 3 creature swap. I still love this combo, and it still works a lot more often than what people think. This is the second OTK method, and this is the one that I prefer. It's easier to pull off because even if they have a link monster out, hey, you have a Debbie Ritual, your incantations, I call them Debbie Rituals, but you have in defense, it's only when you have, so a creature swap, give them your defense position monster, and they have to give you something. So it can be anything, even if it's a link monster, they can give it to you. So this is the OTK I prefer. And it's just a lot of fun, and it's multi-purpose too, because I mean, I've gotten swipes at people simply by having a Debbie Ritual summon it in attack position, use creature swap, and if you have a Blue Eyes out, well, you can do a direct attack on that monster and take, well, 3k, and that helps a lot in a game. 3 Swords of Concealing Light. Yes, I decided to put these back in. They were part of my original deck. And you would think this card would be dead considering a lot of people use link monsters, but it's not as dead as you think, especially now with the new guard dragons. Even though they, summon a monster, it's still like a regular effect monster or normal monster or even fusion. If it's a non-link monster, this will work. So I got this to work a couple of times, and again, it's multi-purpose, so it can, even if you don't have Chaos Max out, this is really good for defense because their monsters have to be in face and defense positions for 2 standby phases. So at least this gives you, well, it gives you the ability to draw twice, and you can abuse his most powerful effect, which is double piercing damage. So yes, I decided to put them back in. This is something I do swap out pretty often. I might side deck, I might take it all together, but for this this week I put it back in, and so far it's been paying off. Last but not least, we have one Monster Reborn because, hey, it's a staple. Bring one of your monsters back, steal one of theirs, and one pot of extravagance. One, well, why one? Well, it's all I have. But you know what? I think it's good to play with just one, just to get used to it, just to grow accustomed to it, simply because I got a feeling that this card is going to be limited, and who knows, maybe banned, I'm not sure. The only disadvantage with Pop Extravagance in this build of Chaos Max is because my extra deck do have some useful cards in it for graveyard effects. So the gamble, sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't, but it has worked for me quite well. So when I use it, every time I will ditch 6 of my extra deck monsters and draw 2 cards, and I must say, it has saved me quite a few times. For the extra deck, you have 3 Elder Entity Natis, 3 Herald of the Arclight, and this is basically for the effect of the Mega Monarch. When these 3 go to the grave, you can pop a card each. Doesn't matter, back row, front row. So that's 3 cards you can pop, and these allow you to search for a monster or a ritual magic card. So yes, even with the effect of the pots, if you have even at least one of these left in your extra deck, you can still make it work. I had most of these banners face down, which is unfortunate, but once I pulled off the move with the Mega Monarch, yes, I had at least 2, 1, so that's still 1 card you can pop, 1 search you can do, and remember, with this deck, all it takes is 1 search, 1 card in your hand to get the ritual cycle going. I have the standard Galaxy package, I have Galaxy Eyes, I have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, and I have the good old Dark Matter Dragon. You're almost never going to use these. These cards are basically reserved for the end game. If the game goes on for a long time, and sometimes you have no choice but to overlay something, especially when you get Dark Matter's effect, it is quite useful. Hope Harbinger is great for absorbing any problematic magic cards. Lancelot, I still have Lancelot. He's amazing. He's great for endgame if your opponent has 2,000 or less life points. If you have 2 Chaos Maxes up and there's nothing you really do to take enough damage with their attack position monsters, go ahead, do an overlay, bring him out, and go in for the game. Blue-Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, again, you're never really going to use him anyway, but he's still a good card because he can attack twice, and of course during a damage step you can banish, so again, he's good if there's a problematic monster, but, you know, almost never going to use him. So you have Skull Dread, Warlord Dragon, Summon Sorcerers. You might find this pretty odd to have these in my extra deck. I kept them in there because they are really good targets for Ghosts, Reaper, and Winter Cherries. And that's something you probably noticed in this build. If there is no Ghosts, Reaper, and Winter Cherries, I actually took them out for a while. So I did not take these cards out of the extra deck. If anything, they're just good fodder, banished fodder for the Pop Extravagance, so I'm like, hey, why not? Leave them in for now. But really, for that effect, you can put anything in your extra deck. Now, when you look at my main deck, there's probably something you've noticed, something important. Well, I put them in my side deck, believe it or not. So I have my 3 Manjus at 10,000 hands, and my 3 Bingo Machine Go, and you're probably like, wondering in my main profile, like, where on earth are these cards? These are staples. Every Blue-Eyes ritual shouldn't have these. But here's the thing, with the ratio of the incantations, you don't really need these anymore. I mean it. I think through the entire tournament this week at the locals, I did not miss this card at all. Bingo Machine Go, again, is is more useful in Chaos Max build than it is for the traditional Blue-Eyes. You can search for the Chaos Swarm, Blue-Eyes, Chaos Max, Chaos. It is wonderful, but the thing with this deck is it's purely search. So even if your opponent has a setup that prevents you from searching, Bingo Machine Go isn't going to be any help to you. It's going to be a dead card. At least with the incantations, you can do something else. You can at least put in face and defense if they're not so dead. But for the time being, I decided to side deck it for now, and I'm not going to lie. I did not miss either of these cards. So if the deck continues to work the way it is, I may even remove these from the side deck and put something else in. 3 Imperial Iron Wall. These cards are very important. The main reason why I have these side decked is for the Thunder Dragon matchup. And believe me, this works. And this is another card you want to see in your opening hand if you put them in. Because once you get Imperial Iron Wall activated, you pretty much shut down Thunder Dragons. I went against them, and once this card came up, the deck was helpless. They couldn't do anything. We had to go, okay, next game. So that's pretty what's for. But I mean, the whole banish concept is very, very powerful. If you have Imperial Iron Wall, you can actually negate the effects of the Call by the Grave, which is a staple that every deck has. So anything to prevent banishing is quite useful. But again, it is open. It's something I may switch out, but hey, it's served me well, amazingly so far. 2 Call by the Grave. I normally main deck these, but they're side decked for now because so far I have not come across any real situation to warrant use. Almost no one has been using Ash Blossom on me. So, and that's the thing. That's usually why I have these, is for the hand traps. And it's very situational. You know, if they have a hand trap, I have to happen to have this in my hand or on the field. So the odds aren't really that great, but again, it's a staple. It is amazing. You can use it for effects other than hand traps. So I do switch out between these from time to time. 2 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, because it's obvious. These are amazing cards every deck should use, but hey, recently I have not been using my main deck, but hey, you gotta have them. So 2 so far I think is fine. Last but not least, Breakthrough Skill. This is just for any problematic effect monsters. I mainly have these for Borreload and Boral Sword Dragon. I know you're not going to negate the first effect, but the other ones is great because Borreload is probably the biggest weakness this deck has. So that's why I had as a target for Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. And you also notice in this deck that I have no Spiritualism. I sing that card's praises, and well, here's the thing. I took Spiritualism out is because no one's been playing any cards, any at least continuous trap or magic cards that prevent me from using any ritual to get Chaos Max out. And of course, that's the whole point of this deck. Just get Chaos Max out as fast as you can and let them run havoc. But Spiritualism was a great support card, but recently it has not been used very much. I haven't had a need to use it, at least in the competitive level. It's more useful on the casual level where people do use those cards more often. So who knows? That's going to be another card I may switch between back and forth with. But as of right now, with this build, it's very, very consistent. I love it. You don't really need the Manjus or the Bingo Machine Ghost, but still, I have them side deck for the time being, just in case. But however, the past week, I have not missed them, have not gone back. So who knows, they may come out for good. But anyway, Chaos Max, again, is my favorite. If you want to give it a try, sure, it's not for everybody. It's not something for the super competitive level, just to warn you. But will I make more? I'm pretty sure I will, because this deck is always changing. With Guard Dragons now, Guard Dragons are out, so I really want to experiment with that with my other Blue Eyes deck. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile, and this is your Dragon Lady say, be a good sport, play the game, not the fame. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe and click on the little bell for notifications. You can also check me out on Facebook. Link is in the description below. Happy dueling!